Recording is on.
Hello and welcome to DX's weekly strategy call, Friday, September 30th. Today, we had on the agenda to chat about integrating Arbus Club, using Arbus Club to build a discussion forum within Davi. One is an on-chain governance system, the other is has off-chain elements, and blending the two requires discussion around the best approach so that we achieve a seamless UX. Um, we may actually skip it for today though, because we would need a few members to attend to help guide the conversation, mainly the dev squad building the solution, to familiarize ourselves with the problems they're facing. But Ross couldn't attend, so we will skip forward. We will be chatting briefly about the organization around us, the majority of us attending Bogota. GXL highlights how we could best present GXL, the way we would conduct ourselves there, any important yeah. Do we have show sheets? Yeah, we do have the one from Paris. I can share it here. Here it is. Also, if anyone has come across any important kind of like guidances on how to not behave, but like what to be aware of while in Bogota, it would be nice to share information. And then we will have Ashley continue her GX legal assessment from last time. So, on the topic of Bogota, is everyone ready? Oh, yeah, we should also, since we have Dirk on the call, we should discuss the swag. Has Augusto provided the quotation from the print shop? Is everything going smooth, or is there anything still outstanding that we should take care of?
Can you repeat that?
Whether you got the quotation back from the print shop that Augusto is liaising with?
I don't have. So I don't have any information about quotes or money. Like I'm kind of doing the. I will deliver all the kind of design stuff today, and then hopefully get it in time.
Okay.
That's the plan. But Wayne, I think was handling the quotes, or Augusto. I'm not sure. Wayne is traveling at the moment.
Gotcha.
I
Yeah,
think,
we do have some assurances that we will be printing a, a test shirt first and bag, and see if we're pleased with the result, and then we will do the bulk order. And we've been assured that it would take at most a couple of days to complete the order, and the print shop is local to Bogota, so there are no concerns of managing to arrange all of this until the hackathon starts. We have plenty of time. We have a whole week. Okay. In terms of travel, has anyone still got anything to arrange in terms of like accommodation, flights? Good. Seems like everyone's sorted. When here, no worries.
Yeah, I guess I think the thing we're maybe still working on is I think there was like a schedule maybe for the retreat week that we were kind of trying to float around with some different stuff there. So I think Melanie was helping out with that. I don't think we're ready to share everything yet, but I think having some ideas for that week would be good to get people thinking. And then I also think like this is true not just of Bogota and the retreat, Cartagena and the retreat, but I think DXproduct more broadly. Like I think we should be open to having like smaller group sessions for people that want to do things and kind of organize something, and not just have it where we have to have everybody from DXproduct that is involved in everything, because a lot of the conversations are maybe more focused in there, but there are things that we want to have conversations to a broader one. Yeah, I think thank you. That's what I think we're working on that now. I think Melanie has like a draft that we can, yeah, that we're trying to plan hopefully the next couple of days.
Good. Yeah, we mentioned before we started the recording that we will be, I believe I should double check this, in a time zone that will make the usual meetings we conduct at 3 p.m. UTC 8 a.m. local time. So
10 a.m.
Oh, 10 a.m. Okay, so it's
the same time. Yeah, I think it's Central Time Zone in the U.S.
Mountain, yeah, Mountain Time.
No, Central. It's not Central. No, Central.
Oh, those are different ones?
Yes, there's East, Central, Mountain, and West in the U.S. Plus Alaska and Hawaii, which we kind of don't feel like mentioning, except for Hawaii gives us a lot of extension out in the Pacific, and Alaska, most importantly, gives us all that land, so we can claim the third largest land country. But they've got a lot of time zones we don't pay attention on.
Yeah. Time is good. Okay, so yeah, we will have the majority of the core contributor community there traveling, and since it's 10 o'clock, unless we move it to either earlier or later, it wouldn't be convenient for us to be conducting any meetings, because that's when the conferences start, the main events like DevCon or even the hackathon. So, but actually the hackathon is over the weekend, so no worries about that. Yeah, during the week of DevCon, if usually 3 p.m. UTC is 10 a.m. in Bogota, then if we still want to have certain meetings like the governance call on Wednesday, we could move it earlier so we could all have the meeting before we head off to the venue. Like we could all do it from our hotel rooms early in the morning, or we could, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's fine to keep things, as they are. 10 a.m. seems like a fine schedule. Maybe we could step out for a bit, but I think it shouldn't require that much. I think especially the governance one, we're just going to go over the proposals quickly, and it's not, people don't need to attend these. They can go to different things at the conference. It's fine to miss calls and meetings, but yeah, I think the governance one we're just going to keep the same time and then go over the proposals then. And then I don't know what the other calls are doing, but I would imagine they might not be going all the way.
Good. All right. In terms of OPSEC, we should all be careful. Do not, hook up to connect to any dodgy Wi-Fi networks. Also, be careful with your laptops and smartphones. It is not advisable to bring wallets with a lot of assets sitting on them. Just be vigilant. I've read quite a few articles. It's not what it used to be like 10 years ago. And the areas that we will be frequenting during the visits are pretty good nowadays. There are still lots of dodgy areas, but we will be nowhere near those. Also, mobile internet. Coming from Europe, for me, it's really bad because I have free internet all over Europe and roaming, and unfortunately, our telecom doesn't. The telecoms in Europe don't have good deals with Colombian ones, and if you try and use your European SIM card in Colombia, you will incur a lot of costs, like something like $10 a megabyte, which is ridiculous. So it's ideal to obtain a local card if possible. I know from Dave that he got a virtual SIM with a discount for about $40-50 that has about 15 gigabytes of mobile data. So, and it can be purchased online, but you should just check whether your device is compatible and you can do it. Oh man, yeah. US phones that are locked to a certain carrier and you cannot use another carrier, that's a bummer. Yeah. Also, regarding transport, it is advisable not to be walking in the streets alone, even in groups, when it's really late at night, after dark in general. Try and get cabs and use, and also do not hail cabs from the street, because many of those are dodgy. They could either take you on a tour around the city and get you to pay a big bill, or they could stop somewhere and their friends could get into the taxi and start coercing you to hand them over some stuff. So use the mobile apps like Uber, and stay in groups. Try and not like stray away. Generally, tourists are targeted, so try not to look like a tourist. Yeah. But as I said, the conference center, the Agora, and also where the hackathon is, the Doubletree Hilton, they're both in good, modern, secure, as much as the average for Latin America, secure areas are. So we shouldn't be too scared and concerned. There's no need to worry too much. Just be careful and vigilant how you conduct yourselves. Don't attract attention. Don't wear expensive sneakers, watches, clothes, like no Dolce and Gabbana and Versace and other crazy shit like that. You'd be stupid to do anything like that. So yeah, and I even bought a fake wallet. So if someone pulls a knife on me and asks for my wallet, I will give them my wallet, but it will be my fake wallet. So maybe you could do something like that as well. I'll personally try not to go to late night parties after midnight. It's not also productive given that we are on a work assignment, attending conferences. So yeah. Good. Anyone has anything to share about Bogota?
You just scared the shit out of Vanky, and he's not even going.
Man, to be honest, I don't even want to go myself, but vocation calls. What do you call it? The duty calls. Cool. All right. So, in terms of highlights and shill sheet, of course. I know back in the days that sheet used to have stuff about almond, stuff like that. So the highlight would be governance, Davi, Swapper, maybe Carrot. Unfortunately, we won't be able to have a working, we're nowhere near a working front end for V1. It's months away. We're still in the early stages of even like envisioning what it should look like, but there is still tremendous progress from just a couple of weeks ago because of the efforts from initially Geronimo, and now it's taken over by Dirk, Boris, I believe Keenan, and of course Federico. But yeah, it would be difficult to sell Carrot V1 because we have nothing to show for it aside from the smart contracts. So of course we can still shield Carrot, but it would be the MVP that we've had up until this point, and we have a front end for it. So yeah, it's working. It's great. It's not permissionless. We would need to liaise with the organizations that would like to use it and help them out. But in terms of priorities, the easiest to shield would be, of course, the amazing swapper we've built throughout for the past few years. We've been building and our governance solutions. We got guilds almost ready. We have something to show if anyone is interested. Yeah. Regarding the hackathon, I wonder, it's pretty much covered. I'd like to thank Melanie. She's here. She's done amazing, and like even last minute, she helped us order wristbands. I am personally, I'm pretty confident to say this on a recorded call. I'm somewhat disappointed. Maybe I have the wrong impression. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm a bit disappointed with the help from Lateral, given that they portray themselves as a professional company that have experience and we paid them for it. I hope they prove us wrong, but so far I'm a bit disappointed. We still had to do the most of the work ourselves, and if we were slacking and we missed to do certain stuff, it was because we were counting on them. And when we realized time and time again that the stuff that we wanted them to do, they didn't, we had to step in, but it was too late. And that's why it may seem like the organization is not ideal and we're slacking, but it's because of our kind of like broken liaison with this company. I'm not sure where the issue is, but we'll meet them face to face. They could still be amazing people, but professionally, I'm a bit disappointed. I hope they make up for it on site somehow, and maybe during the retreats. We'll see. I have a question. Last time we did the retreat in Lisbon, I wasn't present myself, but I still did attend meetings virtually, and I did partake in a survey that the previous company we hired from Israel did for us. I was very much impressed with that survey, and I have it with me. Would you guys be comfortable if I prepare like the same survey with the same questions, because we've grown massively since then. We've onboarded many new contributors, and they have a fresh perspective of how the DAO is working, and maybe they have something to share. I believe if we do the same survey again, it had amazing questions, and the data in the end could open our eyes for stuff that maybe we know about or maybe we don't, but it would be nice if something comes up, surfaces as an issue that we could tackle. So if anyone feels like it's not a good idea, let me know. But yeah, I'm planning on preparing the same survey. I was so impressed last time that I copied the questions. I hope there's no IP that I'm breaching, but yeah, I copied the questions, and I will do the same survey again with the new contributors that we've onboarded, and yeah. Anything else regarding the weather? I'm jumping from topic to topic. I'm a bit of a scatterbrain. Regarding weather, Ross mentioned packing will be very difficult. On one hand, we have they call both the refrigerator, and during the time we'll be there at night, temperatures will be almost 3 degrees. It'll be about 3 degrees, which is near freezing. And then when we move to Cartagena, then we'll have about 25-30 degrees. So we need to pack for both really hot weather and really cold weather. So be prepared. It will be raining in Bogota almost every day, a lot. We'll be predominantly inside, or if we are moving outside from venue to venue, we would tend to use taxis, but still maybe have an extra pair of shoes, or pack an umbrella or a raincoat. Just be prepared. Cool. 2 toothbrushes. Okay, that's the first. I've never heard that before. It sounds cool. It doesn't take much place in the suitcase, so why not? Cool. Yeah. Also, another thing. The no, actually, yeah. Okay, forget about it. Maybe if anyone doesn't have a topic they wish to bring up for us to discuss, we could let Ashley continue her DX legal assessment presentation from last time. I think it's towards the end anyway. It wouldn't be much. And if we don't have much else to discuss, we could even end the call early today. But of course, it's more of an open call for anyone to bring up any topic for us to discuss. I was hoping we could chat about governance. That's why I didn't put much else on the agenda today, but sadly we don't have Ross. I don't know what happened. Yeah. Okay, Ashley, are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
Good. You are in a quiet environment today?
Yes.
Good.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, you have the stage.
Yeah. Hold on. Let me share. Can you guys see my screen?
Yeah, we do.
Okay, perfect. So last time we're at, so I was wrapping up the U.S. legal challenge. So I will give a recap of the U.S. legal challenge really quickly, and then I will talk about the global decentralization strategy. So last time after we chat, so the recap is that there are 3 types of risk, that is taxation, general partnership liability, and token risk. And I've reached the conclusion that given the way that DXL is operating right now, its global decentralization, and also its with its US presence with several contributors in the US but living in different states. But these contributors, they play a fairly important role in the DAO, in the products, and in the commercialization. So the taxation would be, especially in the near future, once the products start to commercialize, start to get more profit, taxation is the biggest risk for DXDAO. And the general partnership liability, the reason that it's not a super big risk is that we don't have any contributors in the US living in the same state. So it's really hard for any state to have jurisdiction over DXL. And also, given this trend of global decentralization, it will be harder and harder for a state court in the US to have this jurisdiction. And the token offering, the reason that they don't have DXL doesn't have this risk is that the tokens they offer it will be seen as utility token, as there have been very clear cases and precedents suggest that this is not just a purely financial token that people invest and speculate for financial gains, because there's actually some useful like utility functions involved. And how do we mitigate this kind of risk? So we first talk about the minimum steps. So that was DXL needs to have this continuous risk monitoring and assessment with the contributor squad and the governance and strategy and treasury. So they need to carefully monitor the contributors' residence. They also need to have this product business map that will clearly identify which products or squads are most at US legal taxation risk, in the sense that there should be some product that have more kind of US connection, where in the sense that there are more US key people involved in these products, or the key IP is developed in the US. And the treasury needs to be very careful with activities that could be tracked or tied to the US. And then we talk about some sort of the aspiration that DXL should really focus on if they want to mitigate the risk and just be a more innovative or more progressive, more on the front line kind of organization. So first is a global talent strategy that really moves away from the US. So there will be this emergence of more key contributors coming outside from the US, especially in different products that are most prone to be profitable, that will be tied to the US, that could have the US taxation risks. And also there will be the sourcing of high-level contributors globally as well. And then the most important thing is actually to align the treasury and governance with insurance and defense. And there are multiple ways to do this. So one most important thing is to actually have some sort of governance agreement in place, like even right now before any potential disputes. Because the biggest risk of the general partnership liability is that once there is some sort of potential dispute and the members cannot agree on whether like they should proceed or they should consult, they cannot agree on one single course of action. So if you already have this governance agreement in place, even before the dispute, that okay, like in case of dispute, like how will you proceed? What is your decision-making process, and how you will decide whether to go forward with the claim or whether to just let this go? And getting this sort of pre-approval from members right now, like before any claim, is probably easier than at that time once you cannot reach one agreement. And one thing I saw that really piqued in people's interest is to have this insurance or claim tokens that are tied to REP, because there essentially is this idea that the more involved, or let's say the more you contribute to DXL, the more likely that you might be liable in the future if something goes wrong. So having some sort of insurance or claim tokens that help contributors and mitigate this sort of risk I think it can be a very creative way to first to offer this more as not just as the contributors benefits, but more as how do you protect contributors and then attract very quality contributors join DXL. And in connection to this governance agreement, there should also be this risk assessment and voting mechanism for compensation claims and amounts. Because previously when I presented this, there was some thought like argument saying that if you have an insurance already in place, then other people might be more likely to sue because they know you already have this insurance. So actually, I think we can go one step above that. Further than that is that even if you have this sort of agreement, you still need to have a risk assessment and voting mechanism to decide whether you would pay out for any sort of claims for damage. And this sort of risk assessment and voting mechanism can incorporate, for example, the legal assessment from the council, internal or external, and also from the members as well from voting. So even if you have, like, you might have this fund already available at DXL, but if you cannot go through, if it cannot pass this risk assessment and voting, then there still will be no compensation. So this just to recap what we talk about in the US legal challenge and to wrap this up. And now I will go to the global decentralization strategy. And so this is separate from the US legal challenges, as US legal challenge was purely looking at what are the pure legal risks in the US that DXL is facing. And global decentralization strategy encompasses a lot more because, as I was saying previously, operating in a true way. So we really need to step outside from this US legal lens as well to see how we can create some sort of legal design that align with DXL's vision and can advance its vision as a self-sovereign entity. So I will first talk about the key factors in choosing different jurisdictions, and I will give an overview of potential jurisdictions. These are probably the hottest or the ones that people are most interested in, especially for DAOs. And you will see a lot of projects that are registered in these jurisdictions. And I will put forward some recommendations for DXL. And the key challenge is that how do you actually have a decentralized legal entity? Is a decentralized legal entity an oxymoron in the sense that, but if you're talking about legal entity, it is by default in one single jurisdiction, therefore it is centralized. And I think to have this decentralized legal entity, you really need to have a very high level design that can help you to not just restrict this entity into one single jurisdiction. And I'm proposing two different approaches. So the first one is what I call a static law approach. So this is a more conservative kind of approach, but it is very practical and it looks at the exact law as it is now and also what DXDAO is doing at the point. And I also propose a more progressive approach to this legal design. And this progressive approach is it is based on the theory or the thinking that law has been viewed historically and until now as a construct, and law evolves to adapt the needs of society. And DAO happens to be this evolution of society. So DAOs can be recognized under the private international law under this very progressive approach, and this will really advance and be aligned with DXL's vision as self-sovereign. And first is about how do we choose a jurisdiction. So the key factors I'm looking at is what are the level of recognitions of DAO in this jurisdiction, and what is your attitude towards blockchain and DeFi, and what is the level of trust in this legal regime or legal certainty. For example, Ecuador or Palau, they're very friendly towards DAOs and blockchain in general, but this legal certainty or the level of trust in the legal regime is not as strong. So when we're deciding where to look at, I would still prefer to look at countries, jurisdictions that have a history of high trust in the legal regime. And also we are looking at the legal frameworks that will allow the most innovative legal designs. So I will talk about this later. So essentially is that we need to look at which country would allow a more innovative kind of legal structure. And for example, Switzerland, it has this decentralized autonomous association law, association law with limited liability there. So, and this sort of flexibility is it's really good for DXL. And we'll also talk about which country, which law, which jurisdiction can offer any sort of new legal construct. So this is the progressive approach I was talking about. So for example, the Swiss private international law, there could be the potential that DAO can be recognized under the Swiss private international law because they can view this code of DAO as a governing law and the digital space as a state. So this is for the progressive approach. And so I will talk about different jurisdictions. So first, Switzerland. And right now, there are 3 different frameworks that a DAO can look at, and a lot of blockchain projects are registered under this. So first, the most common one we've seen is foundation. So for foundation is just like a nonprofit association, so that is very ideal for long-term infrastructure projects. So, for example, for Ethereum and Divinity, and these or Near protocol, these are all infrastructure projects, but it's less suitable for DAOs because a DAO's activity can evolve and mature over time, and DXDAO is not about a fundamental infrastructure project. So I would say foundation is less applicable to DXDAO. And then we have this decentralized autonomous association that I was just mentioning. And this is, I see this as combining the best of two worlds currently, as it is an association as a nonprofit association, but it also offers limited liability. And for a DAA is very similar to a DAO. But the problem is that you also have to specify the assembly, the delegate, the member community. So essentially, you will still have some sort of governance structure that is not present in the current DXDAO structure. And also, you still need to appoint one actual person as well for this sort of association. And then there is the private international law. So that was the progressive approach I was talking about. And under Swiss private international law, there is this possibility of recognizing DAO as a foreign company, and with the DAO's code being the governing law and the digital space as a state. And Cayman Island, this is also a very popular destination for a lot of blockchain projects. But I will talk about two different options. So one is it's a foundation company in Cayman Island, but the drawback of this register as a foundation company is that it needs to be in compliance with the Virtual Asset Service Provider Act. So this is the act that is that really regulates the sale of virtual assets to public. But the caveat is that it's only for sales of assets to public in exchange for considerations. So, for example, it only limits your sale of assets, your tokens to the public, like for money or for any sort of exchange. So a DAO can still do an airdrop or grant awards as a foundation company. But then again, because of this Virtual Asset Service Act, the scope of the DAO's activity is very limited, as you cannot really offer token sales to public without being regulated. And because of this limitation on the foundation law in Cayman Islands, there is a more innovative way to do it, is that you are still registered as a foundation in Cayman Island, but you have a subsidiary in BVI or Switzerland. So this is a dual structure that I see as also offering the best of two worlds, is that you can have this foundation company in Cayman Island, but then all your token offering or all the activities that are not in compliance with Cayman Islands VASP law can be done via the subsidiary in a crypto-friendly jurisdiction such as BVI or Switzerland. So in this way, Cayman Island also offers some sort of flexibility in terms of the structure and the activities you can do if you can create a dual structure. And then for Singapore, even though a lot of the projects are, I think they're incorporated in Singapore, but based on the research, I would really strongly advise against Singapore, because I still find Singaporean law to be fairly restrictive compared to Swiss law and Cayman Island law. So there are basically two options. So the DAOs would still need to be registered as company, but it could be either company limited by shares or company limited by guarantees. So company limited by shares, it is the same as other type of companies so that's why it's very stringent, and you also need to register with this accounting and corporate regulatory authority, so that's like their regulatory body, and also you need to be compliant with their whole process of auditing and everything. And also another drawback is that it's not non-anonymous, and the share transfer is not instantaneous, which really defeats the purpose of DAO in many ways. And a lot of DAOs, they are in Singapore, they are wrapped as company but limited by guarantees. But I think this is more suitable for DAOs with a nonprofit element, for example, like a social DAO, because the DAO would still be prohibited from paying dividends or profits to its members. Even though it has some sort of DAO aspects, I find this restriction in the financial activities to be very extremely restrictive, especially for DXL. And the US. I will talk about this because this is something that people will be interested in. But again, if we have spent so much time talking about the US legal risks, then I wouldn't say let's go for the US, like for registering in the US, because that is probably the jurisdiction that you want to avoid the most as opposed to going for. But just to give people some understanding or knowledge of the DAO law in the US. So basically, there are two approaches. Is that you can either register as a DAO in a state such as Wyoming or Delaware, or you can wrap your DAO as an incorporated nonprofit association. So if you register DAO in Wyoming or Delaware, so basically it offers legal protections to DAOs, and the DAOs will be formed as LLCs. But the problem is that if you are not it doesn't offer any sort of recognition on the federal level. So basically, that is that you need to register in either Wyoming or Delaware. If you register in any other states, then it will still offer no recognition. And then also it means that it's subject to the U.S. taxation and all regulatory activities as well. And this other approach that is using the Nonprofit Association Act, this is an approach that a lot of prominent U.S. Web3 VCs really advocate. So, for example, like for a lot of their legal advice for DAOs, they would advise them to register in this form. But I think the reason is that most of like their clients or their users are mostly U.S. DAOs. That's why they're offering this option. But given DXDAO's global decentralization, I don't see the need for DXDAO to be wrapped in this way. But the way they suggested, or the way that a lot of DAOs are currently doing in the US, is that they will either wrap as an entire DAO, as a single incorporated nonprofit association, or they will bifurcate the treasury and protocol. So they will wrap the treasury as this UNA, so the incorporated nonprofit association, and they will have the protocol as NPOP. And this is also subject to US tax and regulatory compliance. And that's why I think understanding DXL's particular situation is really important. So even though the US Web3 big investors, they are advocating for this approach, but I see this as less applicable to DXDAO. I would say this is an approach that is more suitable for a US DAO that wants to bypass some sort of general partnership liability issues. So to recap on what I just discussed in terms of the jurisdictional fit, when we're looking at DXL's purpose, its vision, its products, and its decentralization, Switzerland is far more superior to all other jurisdictions. So I would say Switzerland is better and can be the same to Cayman Islands, but Switzerland is still a lot better in terms of the legal design and the potential opportunities there is for the progressive approach. And then Switzerland and Cayman Islands, they're far more better than Singapore or the US. And I talk about the two approach. So the static approach. So under the static approach, if we look at the current law as where it is, like looking at facts right now, the most practical one is to either register as a DAA with limited liability under Swiss law, or you register as foundation in Cayman Island with subsidiary in Switzerland or BVI. And this static approach really asks you need to bifurcate the treasury and protocol, and also the product can be bifurcated as well. And the progressive approach, so this is something that I really want to put forward and just want the DX community to know, is that after this research, I really think that there is this opportunity, there is this huge space that DXDAO can play in creating this legal commons that can really advance this vision of DAO. And what do I mean is that it can actually go for DAO as this new legal construct as what I was saying, that the code can be recognized as a governing law, and the digital space can be recognized as a state under the private international law. So there have already been several legal scholars advocating on this part, and I think this is something that by creating a legal commons of a lot of DAOs, they're really able to bring this forward. And this, of course, this task will be more complex, more multifaceted, that involves research, advocacy, and collaboration in the global DAO and legal community. And also, this will also advance this idea of creating a decentralized dispute resolution system that really mirrors the International Arbitral Tribunal. So I don't know if you guys know, there is something that exists outside of national courts that is called International Arbitral Tribunal. So you will hear the word international arbitration a lot. So these actually don't happen in courts. So they have this is above all different national laws, that there will be some international arbitral tribunal that handles disputes coming from different nation states. And I think this idea can also be replicated in the DAO, in the decentralized system, as that in the end, what I see is that for different DAOs, for a lot of DAOs or organizations operating in this space, they will subject to this jurisdiction of this decentralized dispute resolution system in the digital space, as opposed to in any national courts. And this emergence of a decentralized dispute resolution system would not only recognize the existence of DAO, but also would handle any sort of smart contract DAO disputes as well. So, and this is a space that I think a legal common in the DAO space can really help this. And I've seen some projects that are working in dispute resolution in the digital space, but there hasn't been this emergence of one single actor that is coming out saying, hey, like, let's create an international law for all the DAOs operating in this space, and the DAOs that want to be whose disputes want to be handled in this space, they can subject to this, and later on their disputes will be handled in this space. So yeah, so this is the end of my research and my proposal. So I just want to thank you, the DXL, for this opportunity, for really letting me to dig into these issues that I really enjoyed it, and it really helped me to come up with some really good creative solutions that I think it's not just helpful for DXL, but also for the DAO community. Questions?
Yeah, awesome, Ashley. And I know a couple people have to run to a hard stop in just a couple of minutes. But yeah, this is great. The really thing I really like, or interesting framing, was like the static versus progressive approach. I think that you had a couple of slides about. And I think that's like a really interesting way of seeing, like, not just what is the existing legal framework now, regulatory framework now, but like also how those things will evolve in the future. And then, like, the second thing that I thought was interesting in terms of how it's affecting, like, DXproductstrategy is that on the, like, liability side, whether it's the general partnership or the token offerings, that those are, like, kind of minimized, I guess, in terms of DXDAO, and especially the kind of, like, talks about the general partnership and not having people in the same state, also having, like, decentralized teams not in the US. And then the key point, though, as you have right here, is the taxation component. And I guess that's what is kind of the big defense on that. And I think that gets into the second, we're in decentralization strategy, because it's like there will presumably you could have different jurisdictions where maybe, I don't know, DXDAO individuals or contributors, or the DXDAO itself is like paying tax, but that's not in the US. It's in like a more tax friendly jurisdiction. But yeah, I'm just thinking about that the real approach to the legal setup and everything is more about dealing with the tax question. Yeah. Yeah, and then I think that was. I'm trying to edit. I guess not any of the specific question on that, because I think the kind of taxation thing was clear, and then I also think the rundown of the different jurisdictions was pretty clear. And yeah, I kind of see, like, I don't know, if you're looking in 5 years, I imagine there will be a couple different DXDAO-like entities. Maybe they're not called DXDAO, but they're ones that are stakeholders in DXDAO that act as a legal agent in certain ones, and probably the two, probably Cayman and Switzerland. I don't think it's the big news kind of now, but just how you kind of lay that out there.
Yeah, I absolutely agree, Chris. So I actually think this is the same point is that right now there needs to be no active action to be taken because there hasn't been any sort of triggering point. So that's why the static approach is that, okay, if we really have to do something, that's what we need to do now today. But then again, is that we really want to see like how the product will be developed and how DXL will be involved in the future. But just having understanding like how this will be played out several years down the line is super helpful. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, cool. Yeah, I don't know, Nathan. Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to wrap it up. We have an interesting Twitter Spaces starting just now, so everyone feel free to join. Move over to Twitter, and we're going to be having an exciting conversation with